Welcome to the Nerd Party.
Maximum warp. Punch it. Punch it.
Punch it, Bishop!
Punch it.
Punch that shit!
Let's punch it.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Punch It, writing in Star Trek episode 97, hurtling our way toward number 100 very quickly here. My name is Charlene Schmidt, and with me, as always, is
Tristan Riddell. And if you were a writer for a prominent news editorial or a prominent magazine that knew nothing about Star Trek, you would probably say we're warping to episode 100.
That's so cute. No one's ever done that before, huh?
Oh my gosh. Whenever there is Star Trek news that enters into mainstream media, it's just amazing how many times we're like, set phasers to stun because Star Trek Discovery is making its way to the airwaves.
My favorite incarnation of that is when they're talking about Trek women and it's set phasers to stunning.
Stunning. Yes. That's probably the,
Barf.
stun, just the general stun, and then, of course, the stunning whenever somebody looks good. And then you have set phasers to fun, set phasers to cool, like any kind of adjective, they just kind of put it in there. And as a Star Trek fan, you're just like, oh my God.
Can your eyes roll anymore?
And also, you find it within your own community, too. Like, I am so freaking tired of hearing the red shirt joke. I am just so exhausted.
It's getting a little overplayed, yes. However, I am thrilled that Disco Bones is making a comeback.
Oh, heck yes. And I think we can probably contribute that to Andy. I feel like...
It's all about Andy. If you don't know who we're talking about, it's First Time Trek on Twitter. She is the champion of Disco Bones, and I love her for that as well as many other things.
I 100%. I honestly attribute the resurgence of Disco Bones to her.
It's all her fault, and we love her for it. And if you don't follow her, check it out because she does a lot of cool stuff. She doesn't do quite as much first-time trekking on her account as she used to. I think a lot of that now is for the Women at Warp Patreon, but she is a co-host of Women at Warp, and she does reviews of new Discovery episodes, which are fantastic. So give her a follow if you aren't following her already. Now, that said, you, sir, are famous.
Ha! Well, so nothing's changed.
I mean, internet famous, but nevertheless.
No, it was, so what you're referring to is an interview that I was a part of, and it was really cool because I was interviewed by a friend of mine. You can check it out on thespoilist.com, thespoilist.com, and it's an interview about me and mainly the show Nerd Nuptial, which is the show that I host with my wife. And so it talks about the genesis of my podcasting career, the genesis of the Nerd Party, as well as the genesis of yours and mine relationship.
Absolutely. I read that interview and I had this weird giddy feeling inside because there was my name on the screen and I have that just warm and fuzzy feeling, he's talking about me. I get to be that person. And it's kind of cool.
It was really cool to be asked by him and the guy who wrote the article. You can find him on Twitter at The Spoilist. He's really funny and he's really witty, and it was just what he does is it's called Podcast Stars, and what he'll do is he'll find podcasters that he likes and interview them about their shows. And so he because there's not many husband and wife podcasting teams out there, he wanted to get my perspective on some things.
Yeah, it's very cool, but you didn't just talk about Nerd Nuptial. You talked about us, you talked about the network, you talked about podcasting at large. It was pretty well-rounded.
Well, I tried to because I didn't want to stay too focused, and also whenever you get any kind of attention online, you try to, hawk as much stuff as you can. So I thought...
Name dropping.
Absolutely. So yeah, everyone should check it out. You can find it on his feed at The Spoilist on Twitter. You can find it at the website at thespoilist.com. You can also find it if you follow me at The Insane Robin on Twitter. And Char, where can we find you on Twitter?
Well, you can find me not giving interviews at Oh the Profanity, although I'm open to the idea. Approach me.
Yeah, if you want to talk to us off the mic and via whatever, via text or via webisode or whatever video chat, like
Yeah.
you can contact us. Like if you have a publication or an editorial and you want to talk to us about Punch It or the Nerd Party or our previous works or anything like that, you can find us at thenerdparty.com, and especially if you go to thenerdparty.com/contact, select Punch
Yeah.
It from the drop-down menu, fill out the form, and that'll send us a message.
Yes. And speaking of feedback, I think what we ought to do today is actually write a story, because we went in with the intention last week of doing that, and then we kind of didn't. We had our exploration of 24th century infrastructure and what is life like for the average Joe, and that was a lot of fun. I totally dug it. But let's actually write a story today. And you know what? Let's take a listener suggestion, because somebody on Twitter who has recently started interacting with us, her name is Grace, and is also a fellow Janeway and Chakotay relationshipper. Gotta love her for that. She would love it if we did a Chakotay and Lieutenant Ayala backstory.
And that is so esoteric, and I love it. I love that it's esoteric because I don't think I've ever heard that before. Like
Right?
when she chimed in and said like, "Oh, you should try a Chakotay," and I was like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna hear a Chakotay and Janeway story." No, it's Chakotay and Ayala. That's so awesome, and we know so little about him that the sky's kind of the limit, or at least I thought. Now, you did some research on Ayala, and apparently the internet knows more than I do. So what do we know as a fandom about Ayala?
The truth is, we do not know much about Voyager's most frequent background character, guest star, what have you. So here's what I did learn, or refreshed anyway, because I knew that Lieutenant Ayala was a Maquis officer, so he apparently was Chakotay's right man on the Valjean. So there was that I learned. But also, I knew he had 2 children, and I found the episode in which that was actually mentioned. It was Initiations back in season 2. So he has a couple of kids out there. He did get home safely on Voyager's journey. He did not die, a la Lieutenant Carey. And the other thing that I learned is he's had a number of positions throughout the ship as time went on in the 7 years. He was primarily security, but he was occasionally on the bridge. And apparently he had command of the ship at one point. So there's a little bit of command in there too. So this guy is a little bit of an everyman.
Do you remember when and in what context he had command of the ship?
I think if I'm recalling correctly, and if my memory serves and we know how faulty that is, it was the episode Twisted, where he actually had the bridge.
That's cool. You'd think I'd remember that one.
Well, right? Come on, Tristan. This has your name written all over it. But it was one of those things where I think it was just so subtle that blink and you miss it.
See, with Ayala, I always felt like Ayala was the Lieutenant J of Voyager, but I don't think that's a fair comparison because Ayala got much more verbal screen time.
He did actually get to say words. Yes, I believe one time he said, yeah, and then he said, let's go. And then I think there was some other line, and I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was just something like, it's not, the equipment's not working, or it's offline, or something like that on a scene on the bridge. He got a little bit of talking.
That's not even what I was talking about because I completely forgotten that. And that's even better because what I was referencing was we've heard the name Ayala a lot. Like he was the go-to name whenever they wanted to mention a non-main character.
Oh,
like
it's
the
true.
writers would just drop in the Ayala name. And
yes.
we never heard Jay or Lieutenant Jay or anything like that.
It's true. I did not learn that she even had a name until way after TNG was over.
Right. And so it's amazing. I love seeing recurring background characters, and we've talked about this before, and we've talked about my love of Lieutenant J, and Ayala is right up there because you can point him out. And if you remember his Maquis outfit, he looks like a biker from Fury Road. Like it's like he has huge shoulder pads on him. And it's just
he got to look beefy compared to Chakotay. Like his shoulders just can't measure up without that help.
Now, I had no idea he was his right-hand man.
I did not either. That was something that I learned, but apparently that was the case.
That's really cool. It's amazing how much of a void he is in my memory and my knowledge of Voyager.
Well, he's just one of those people who was always there, but we didn't get to know that much about him. All we ever really heard was his name, and we're calling to Twisted here. I love the way Neelix says his name, and from this point forward, I may just do this out of tribute, is Ayala.
Yeah, he's looking on the doors to see where they are, and like, we're near the personal rooms, the dormitories, and everything like that. And he's just like, and Ayala.
Yeah. Yeah, because the ship, like, if you're not remembering Twisted, it's where the ship really, like, is getting twisted, so different quarters are on different decks, and Lieutenant Ayala's quarters are on deck 7, and how does Kes know that anyway? We had that little plot of jealousy at that time.
Well, she must be sleeping with him.
Of course she is, Neelix. You dip.
Seriously. That's a whole other can of worms there that we don't have to get into.
Let's not go there and say that we did. So, we're going to write the story of Chakotay and Ayala getting together, joining forces in the Maquis.
So it has to be the backstory. Like, we can't write it in Venture where they're together on Voyager or something like that.
Well, the request was to write the story of how they kind of joined forces.
Well, okay. Well, let's kind of workshop some ideas here. So, like,
Let's do that.
Now with the novel Pathways, we get a lot of backstory with Tom and B'Elanna and Chakotay and how they met, how they got into the Maquis together, and so I feel like if Ayala was going to be Chakotay's right-hand man, I feel like he's going to have to be there from the beginning.
I agree, which that sort of just kind of makes logical sense, right? If he's going to have that much prominence on the ship and in Chakotay's, in his mind, you know, he's going to have that trust with Chakotay. He's got to be around for a while. So Ayala has therefore been a member of the Maquis for almost as long as Chakotay, if not longer.
Mm-hmm. Now, Chakotay was recruited by a woman named Svetna. Is that right? Svetna?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. Like a beautiful, pale woman. That's all I remember about her. Maybe Ukrainian, something like that.
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering... all I'm coming up with is cliches right now. This is totally on the fly. I've had no...
As always.
Like, this is completely on the fly. We did not cultivate any kind of ideas or anything like that.
No, we're doing it right in front of you.
So what if Ayala was... what if Svetna recruited both of them, and maybe Ayala was even there before Chakotay?
Uh-huh.
But she felt like Chakotay was better suited for the captaincy of the Valjean. So maybe that could add some drama to the relationship where... maybe Ayala was the XO. Maybe Svetna was the commander of the Valjean, and Ayala was the XO. And she's like, okay, I got to move on to a different ship or move on to a different mission. And so I'm going to make you the captain. She goes to Chakotay and says, I'm going to make you the captain of the Valjean. And Ayala's like, what the hell? Like, I'm next
right.
in line.
Uh-huh.
Like, what if we had some drama around? That's just an idea. You can totally shoot it down and go like, no.
I would like to shoot it down. I want to go, I'll razz you. I feel like that's a little too simplistic. It's very, it's very kind of mediocre.
Fine, go screw yourself. Whatever, that's fine.
Sorry, I love you, Tristan, but I want to shoot down this idea. I think we can do a little better. Let's keep going. Let's keep developing it. I feel like that's a little too simplistic in a way where, I don't know. I kind of want Chakotay and Ayala to be fast friends. Where it's serendipitous.
I feel like this is... we have run aground a fundamental difference between the two of us. Is that I immediately am just like, where's the drama? Where's the conflict? Uh-huh. Where's the aggression? And you're just like, why can't everybody get along, man?
This is so true. This is our personalities at work right here. Yes, I want peace and harmony. You want friction and drama.
I'm just like, as a storyteller, I'm just like, let's kill the husband. Like, let's get this kid out of here. You know, like maybe there's a plague or something like that. And you're just like, why can't they just share a nice bowl of soup together?
Right? What is so wrong about that? Oh, that's hilarious.
As my old writing teacher used to say, where's the drama? Where's the drama?
Yeah, I know. We have to have some sort of explosive, dramatic story. We need a problem so that we can solve it. That is story structure. I get it. So, going from here then, why is Ayala in the Maquis? Let's maybe explore this, because he has 2 children. Does he have a wife, or at least a partner, whom he's also leaving behind? Is that person potentially dead? Is he a single parent? Maybe we flesh this out.
I like the single parent idea because then his reasoning has to be even crazier for him to join the Maquis, because he'd be leaving his kids. And also to the point where we could even see this as maybe he went to the Maquis for the wrong reasons. Maybe he went...
Ooh. What are the wrong reasons?
Well, I'm not quite sure yet. But I'm thinking like, okay, so like so many people go to protect their families, and so, or like to protect their homes and everything like that. So him going off to battle, going off to war, going off to be a freedom fighter, and yet he's leaving his 2 kids at home with no other parent. Who does he leave them with? And maybe he brings that up to Chakotay, and Chakotay's like, what the hell? Why are you here? What are you doing?
Maybe, yeah. Well, okay, I like this idea where this is a massive sacrifice on his part then. If he's willing to leave behind his children and fight for his home, that's how much it means to him. But yeah, why is he doing... Okay, and the kids, maybe the kids are with Ayala's parents, who resent the fact that he's just kind of dumping his kids off on them, and he's going off to be, hopefully, a hero, or potentially getting himself killed, and they don't like this.
I think that'd be interesting. It's a little bit of the Worf syndrome, getting in there, but a little bit more animosity, where maybe he says he's like, the only way that we're going to be able to protect our home is if I actually go out and physically do something. You guys are too old, my kids are too young, but I'm not.
Right.
And
so he feels like he has to step up.
He thinks he's doing the best thing for his family, but his parents and his kids do not.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. Because then, while Ayala is gone for 7 years, how has the relationship dynamic changed? Do his kids hate him now? Do his parents resent him? Or do they realize that he did have the best interests in his mind at heart? And they with the idea that he was potentially dead out there, do they forgive him and they're just thrilled that he's back when he does come back? Or it's just, well, we told you. We wrote you off a long time ago, buddy, but, you're here now.
Well, I don't think that will apply to this story. I think that's really just kind of like an idea.
Just speculating in the future what that might look like, because there's a few ways that could go, and that would be really interesting psychologically.
I think it would, because like when we got closer to Endgame, we started repairing more relationships, like with B'Elanna and Tom, and with Seven, and like we saw all these fences being mended. It would be interesting to see something kind of on the downturn where maybe
or like when they finally had some communication with home, what were those letters and video transmissions like?
Yeah, I think that would be definitely interesting to see. So that's his backstory on why he left and what he left behind. But how does that work with Chakotay? Like,
did they get to know each other because they're trying to protect the same world? Or is that a little too incestuous?
I think it's a little incestuous. I think it would be interesting to kind of show how vast that buffer zone was going to be between the Cardassians and the Federation.
Ooh, okay.
Like how many worlds it actually included.
Like maybe it even takes Chakotay by surprise. You're fighting for that way over there? Wow, that's light years away. I had no idea that was even happening.
Yeah, I think it could be even like where it's just like maybe he even says something like, well, I'm coming from an ancestral home that's been there for hundreds of years, if not longer. And it's like, you're coming from a colony that's only 50 years old. And he's like, how is that any different? It's still my home.
Right. Yeah. My family planted their roots here, and maybe they were some of the first people to settle on that planet. So it matters just as much to him as it does Chakotay. Maybe that's in essence how they start to bond.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a way to go. But so what's like how do they meet? Like what's the situation?
Yeah.
Do they meet on a mission? Do they prepare for a mission together? Do they meet in battle? What's happening here?
I think one thing that we can do possibly is show just how versatile Ayala is, knowing that now in hindsight, where he impresses Chakotay so much with his skill set that Chakotay says, okay, I want you as my first officer. Nobody else even comes close. Because, I mean, with the Maquis, they're taking whoever they can get. Ayala has some serious skills. So Chakotay, he knows a good thing is when he sees it and says, okay, you're coming with me. So they got to have some sort of adventure together.
We got to start with an adventure. It's got to be friends through fire and...
Yes. So are they in a space battle? Are they... Oh, what are they trying to do? Are they trying to fend off a Cardassian attack? What's going on here?
I say heist.
Ooh, okay.
I say a heist on a Cardassian ship where they have to infiltrate the ship and either get information or get a piece of technology, a MacGuffin, that will help the effort of the Maquis.
I kind of like the idea of a little bit of espionage. Let's get some information.
Yeah, I like that too.
Okay. So maybe it's Sveta, if that's how you say her name. She has set up these two on a blind date to go on this mission. It's like, I'm putting you together, and you guys are going to go do this.
And maybe Chakotay's a little miffed about that, where he's like, why won't you let me pick my own person?
Yeah.
Like, I can't go into something like this blind. I need to be able to trust the individual that I'm with, and they need to be able to trust me. And
so then Sveta says, well, you trust me, don't you? Trust me, this is the person you need with you on this mission. So then Chakotay is going to be okay with that.
Okay. So do they have to meet beforehand? Do they maybe Chakotay has to go pick up Ayala?
Okay.
So like since this is Chakotay, we got to do it from Chakotay's perspective.
Sure.
And so I say that like he's just recruited. Sveta just recruits him and says like, okay, maybe like Valjean's not even mentioned yet.
I have a feeling that doesn't even exist yet. I think toward the end of the story, when he does trust Ayala and he knows that he's gonna get a ship, we end the story with him saying, I want you to be my first officer.
Ooh, what if this is how they get the Valjean?
Oh, good idea.
Like they're actually going to get a ship. Like somehow it was captured by the Cardassians, or maybe it's in a stronghold, or maybe they didn't know that they were going to find it, or something like that. Like maybe they go for information.
Ooh, they go in for information. They come out with the ship with their escape.
Yeah, and Sveta's just like, you guys found it. Do you want to be the captain in XO? And 2 big thumbs up, something like that.
There you go. And the only caveat maybe is that whatever situation they're in where they escape, the engine burns out. And so then that kind of incorporates to that line that B'Elanna says in Caretaker, how can I be creative with this 35-year-old rebuilt engine?
Yeah.
You bring B'Elanna into the fold eventually, and she has to rework this thing and make it operable again after they nearly destroy it. Something adventurous like that.
Something like that, yeah. We're like, where they escape, they burn out the engine, and then they say like, okay, well, thanks for the ship, Sveta, but it needs a new engine. She's like, well, I don't have a new engine. That. Yeah, I don't have a new engine, but something that's going to be new to you.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So we've got some pieces together now.
I don't know much about the Valjean. Like, I
Nobody
don't know
does.
its backstory. Like, did it used to be a Federation ship, or was it something else? Or I'm not quite sure.
You know what I was kind of thinking is maybe it's like a small... I don't want to say it's a cargo ship because it's a smaller ship, but it's I want to say it's of Cardassian origin. It really does belong to the Cardassians.
I think I'm going to call a flag on that play. I think it does. I don't think it looks anything close to a Cardassian design. So I feel like, because I'm sure that there's listeners out there who know the entire backstory of the Valjean from some source or whatever, but let's say it was it was made by people who were annexed by the Cardassians or something like that.
Okay.
So like it was, how do I put this? I don't want to make it of Cardassian design, but maybe it's in Cardassian purview where they,
okay.
like they're occupying, like they occupied Bajor, they were occupying some other place and stole their technology and kept their ships and everything like that.
Okay, that makes some sense. Because really, I'm trying to think, do we actually know the origin of the Valjean? I don't think we do. I'm going to go on Memory Alpha later and probably kick myself, but it's our canon. We do what we want. It's going to be some world that it doesn't really matter where it came from. It's just it got occupied into Cardassian hands. So, all right, cool. So then they're doing this as a victory for the Maquis, recapturing what does not belong to the Cardassians.
There you go.
Dig
I like that. So even if it was Federation, then it was captured by the Cardassians or something like that, and the Maquis stole it back. So there you go. However it goes.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So if they're going in though for a little bit of espionage, what are they trying to learn?
That's key, right? It's got to be something that helps the effort. It's got to be something. I wonder, like how espionage-ish do we make it? Like, is it like, do we want to make it boring, like location of fleets or location of where they, facilities, or is it personal information of one of the legates or something that people don't want to get out and they use it as blackmail or they use it for, I don't know, something like that.
I feel like we could go in with a fairly boring intent and then things get, like, all hell breaks loose as soon as they are there. Maybe they're just trying to figure or find a plan of where massive Cardassian stores are so that they can raid them.
Okay.
I mean, something like that where it's a fairly routine, should be a fairly routine mission, is going to be extraordinarily helpful, weaken the Cardassians, strengthen the Maquis. Only, of course, it's not going to be that simple.
All right, so let's go with that where we say that it is something for the supply lines. Okay, like we figure out where the supply lines, if we can help cut it off or even steal some, that's going to help us out. And when they actually get to the ship and they hack the records, they find personal logs of like tons of, maybe they hack it, like maybe they find something from the Obsidian Order. And and they're just like, holy crap, the Obsidian Order has dirt on their own people, and this is insane.
So they're busy downloading everything they can get. They came in for one thing, but by being able to hack in and get the information they wanted, they end up getting a whole lot more.
And maybe that causes some friction between Chakotay and Ayala, because maybe Ayala is just like, no, we need this. And Chakotay's like, stick to the mission. Let's just get what, we came for. Then we can get out of here. Like, this is taking up too much time.
Right. So then, I like that aspect of the friction where you're creating a little bit of a challenge. And they do need to be, I guess, a little bit at odds at some point. Because by getting more information, they're putting themselves at greater risk. Aren't they already at enough risk? They're on a Cardassian ship, for crying out loud. If they get captured, they're going to be tortured, possibly killed.
And what if because they waited so long, their shuttle was found and destroyed?
Yeah, so then now there's a massive manhunt on the ship to capture them. They know that the Cardassians know that they've been infiltrated. And so now we're on a little bit of a cat and mouse kind of thing, a little chase.
I'm imagining it going like how Data and Picard were going through the Scimitar in Nemesis, where like they're battling left and right, they're shooting rifles, and then all of a sudden they go to the shuttle bay and they shoot the doors open of the shuttle bay. Like I've just imagined a chase kind of like that.
They got to break the heck out.
Or do we get them captured, where they have their bonding experience from being captured?
But if they get captured, it's a lot more difficult to have them escape.
It's Star Trek. It happens all the time.
Well, it's true. I mean, you can make your heroes do whatever they want. I understand that. But logistically, I'm not sure how we make that happen. I'm just not that smart today.
Well, if you don't want to, that's fine. I think regardless, I think we could either just say like, okay, they're captured. They have that whole Great Escape Steve McQueen bonding experience where brothers in arms get together and then they find their way out, whatever ways that is.
What if? Okay, so the manhunt is on, right? Chakotay and Ayala are doing their best to escape. Chakotay sees the Valjean and says, "Okay, this is our ticket out." But Ayala says, they're going to shoot us down the moment we get out into space. That's a little too simple. And Chakotay says, the quicker we move, the better we are. What if Ayala uses some of his ingenuity to sabotage the Cardassian ship just enough to give them a fighting chance to escape? But Chakotay does not know that. He does not know what Ayala did until they're out there and suddenly, oh my God, they're not even acting. What's going on? And then Ayala tells him what he did, and Chakotay says, that is some serious ingenuity, sir.
I think that's good up until a point. I don't think there really needs to be any kind of mystery there. Where like
suspense, man.
Well, what's his motivation from keeping it from Chakotay?
There's only time to act. He cannot explain what he's doing while he's doing it. He just needs to do it. He's like, trust me, I'll explain later. But we don't know what it is, and we don't even know if they're going to live.
I think the thing with me is that I hate that rationale in television because you only see that in television where it's just like, no time to explain. We've got to get moving. We just have to act. And then like every single time I'm just like, you just took 7 seconds to say that. You could have said, I disabled the force field in less than 7 seconds.
Right.
Okay.
Like
that kind of thing.
All right. You can shoot this one down then.
What if you think about this? Okay, so they get really pissed at each other because Ayala was just like, let's download this, and Chakotay's like, no, we're gonna get caught. This is BS. This sucks. Like, we need to get going. And they run away. What if Ayala gets caught, but Chakotay doesn't? And Chakotay is the one that actually ends up going back for Ayala, frees him. Then they get in the Valjean, and Ayala's like, I'm the reason why I got captured. You could have left me. And Chakotay's like, leave no man behind. And then like from that moment on, Ayala's like, okay, I am your right-hand man. I owe you.
And so then Chakotay says, well, then you can repay your debt by being my first officer, something like that.
Like once actually like Sveta says like, okay, it's your ship. And then like they have that conversation.
Okay. I love all of that with one possible exception. Because you said Chakotay comes back for Ayala. What if Chakotay just stays behind on the ship? He finds a way to hide. And then, like, he's not going to go back into the ship. He's not going to escape and come back.
That's not what I meant. Yeah, what you're saying is what I meant.
Okay. Because that makes a lot more sense. But he refuses to leave without Ayala. So.
Yes.
Okay, we're on the same page. That's good. So, okay, I like that. And then that forges their trust. That establishes their relationship. Cool.
I kind of think that's our episode.
Yeah. We went through it fairly quickly. We didn't go to every nitty-gritty detail, but that makes enough sense to me.
Yeah, I think so. So as a recap, Ayala's already in. He leaves his family behind, just like so many other Maquis, but just with a little bit more of extremes. Chakotay is recruited by Sveta into the Maquis and says like, okay, you have an espionage mission. Ayala's going to be your teammate. Go get this information. Infiltrate the ship. They infiltrate the ship. They find more than they bargained for and try to download all the information. But of course, it takes too long. Ayala gets captured. Chakotay stays behind, waits for the right moment, and breaks him out. They find they need a ship to break out. They find the Jean Valjean. They get out, blast through, find their way back to Sveta. Sveta's like, you guys, thank you for the ship. It's now your ship. Chakotay says, okay, well, you owe me one. You got to be my XO. And Ayala says gladly. And then, boom, we have a little tease where they talk about the engine and where about how you need a crackerjack engineer in order to fix this.
That's right. And we all know who that is. One of your favorites.
And there you go. That's the episode. What do we call it?
What do we call it? Should we leave it up to our listeners?
No, I want to name this one.
Oh, you do? Okay.
So, what's a good Voyager name? Like, Voyager had a lot of single word names, right?
I was thinking it's got to be one word, right?
Right? It's Voyager. So,
one word, and it's got to be one heck of a word.
Infiltration.
Infiltration. Okay, that's better than the more direct espionage. Infiltration. Yeah, that's a very Voyager-esque title. Yes. It doesn't say much about forging the relationship. It's more about the mission.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's some sort of word that comes out that explains their dynamic coming together, that would be great.
Maybe a dual purpose.
Yes. Yeah, dual meaning would be awesome. What can we do there? How clever are we live to tape? Here we go.
So if infiltration is just about the mission,
Yeah.
like you said, we need something about the building of friendship. So brothers in arms, something like that.
That's a Deep Space Nine title right there is what you just did.
You're very much right.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
pretty accurate.
It's tougher being limited to just one word.
So friendship is too basic. That's
Yeah, no.
No, what? No, I want to stick with infiltration. I like that one.
Okay. All right. I'm okay with that. We'll go with it.
All right. Well, there you go, folks. That's our episode. Thank you so much for listening. As we talked about at the top of the show, make sure to go to the nerdparty.com/contact, select Punch It from the drop-down menu, fill out the form, and it'll send us an email. And you can find us on social media all over the place. You can find out all of our outlets by going to the nerdparty.com. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, anywhere. And you can listen to our episodes by going to the nerdparty.com/punchit. And from there, you can find us on Spreaker, on iHeartRadio, on Stitcher, on iTunes, everywhere. We are everywhere. So please subscribe and tell your friends about us. And if you have the time, which I know you do, take the 5 seconds and give us a review on Apple Podcasts. It really does mean a lot to us.
Yes, please. That's one of the best ways that you can support the show. And it's free. It takes about not even 5 minutes.
Not even. So next week is going to be a heck of a lot of fun because we're going to be doing another Punch It story, and whatever that is, we're going to continue to punch it.
Ready for warp, sir. Let's punch it.
Join the revolution. Join the Nerd Party.